Yo,
1998 Toyota Camry.
with a 2.2-liter four-cylinder.
The victim wants me to put this mail-ordered AC condenser in his car because he thinks his is leaking or something. First thing I'm going to do is get these fans off.
There's a couple clips. Push in this tab right here and then pull off.
Two 10 millimeters on the top for each one of these fans.
There's a little wire hooked up to my shroud. There. And I can lift this one up and... oh, there's more wire hooked up to shroud. There.
And I have two 12 millimeters for this radiator hold down.
I'm just doing that so I can push the radiator forward to get at this very bent condenser. This thing's been in an accident for sure. Get a little creative there.
I think I'm going to need to take this grill off so I can
Get at some hoses.
10 millimeters.
Oh my god, I broke one. What do I do? Rusty crusty.
There's a receiver dryer here I'm going to need to take off. You're supposed to replace that thing, but I'm not doing it.
And there's a nut over here. And sometimes I have problems with those. So I'm going to try to leave that line on and take it out with the condenser and try to take it off when it's on the bench. Give it a wiggle and that line should pop out of there. There's a mount with two 10 millimeters holding this thing on. If I get a long extension, I can get it one of these, maybe both of them, through the bumper. Get this thing out of my way. I have another high pressure line here with a 10 millimeter on it. And I can wiggle that one loose. I have two 10 millimeters under this bracket. And they just spin. There's a little puck looking thing back in there. I'm just going to wedge something under it. Try to get this nut off. Got one on this side I can get at too. If you're doing this job, you might notice that there's probably a horn and maybe something else that might be in your way a little bit, but this car doesn't have any of that going on for some suspicious reason. Horns are overrated if you got a big mouth. This thing should just fly right out of here.
Now I can try to get this high pressure line off. Looks like a 19 and a 21.
Feels kind of crunchy.
Suppose if you got any problems with this, you can probably get a little heat on it, and it might help take it off. Get it up to about 500 degrees. That's kind of boogered up, but whatever. Line's kind of bent, but whatever. One thing about aluminum too, it might be bent, but don't try to bend it back because aluminum only likes to go one way. You try to straighten all this junk out from this accident it's been in, and I'll probably have to buy another one. Trying to straighten it out. This nut really doesn't do anything but hold this line in, and this O-ring is what seals everything. This condenser looks right. I got some HNBR O-ring assortment from Harbor Freight, so I can just match up all the O-rings when so I can replace them with new ones. Got a little pick here to get these off. Pretty sure this is a PEG 46 car. I'm going to put a little PEG 46 lubricant on here. Oh, this thing don't want to go on. Probably a little boogered up in there. Do a little deep creep. This is the part where I say I should probably get a new line. But I'm just going to work this thing on here. Just run it back and forth, nice and easy. Let the threads do the work. It's just aluminum on aluminum, so it'll go. Doesn't need to be very tight. We'll be replacing this O-ring too, just like the rest of them. Looks like this thing's already got all the rubber grommets and brackets I need, so I can just drop it in the hole. There's 2 holes down on the bottom of the core support that need to be lined up. Looks like I'm going to be utilizing these 2 bolts right here, and they're no longer 10 millimeter. Going to want to make sure these are properly seated before you tighten this down. Just get it a little bit snug and give it a wiggle. They fall right in. They don't need to be that tight either. Maybe 6 foot-pounds, I would guess. I just need to make sure that the pegs for the radiator go in these holes. Little rubber grommets. Probably 12 foot-pounds on these bolts if you care about such a thing. There's little holes for these fans on the bottom. I gotta put this wire back in here. Same with these, 6 foot-pounds maybe. I'm guessing, and I'm probably right. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be some kind of shoulder bolt going in these, so this thing's probably wrong. Gee, what do I do about that? I'm going with a self-drilling sheet metal screw. Lovely. Low side test port is right here. I made this apparatus to do an evac. I'm going to evacuate this for 20 minutes. I let the thing run for 20 minutes and then I shut this ball valve off so it can hold vacuum. It's been sitting at 30 inches for about a half an hour. So this thing's holding pressure, should be good. I have a different apparatus I made for dye oil. If you got a really small leak, you want to add about 1 ounce. In a big leak, you want to add 3 ounces. I'm going to add 3 ounces of this thing. I already measured all this out, and the vacuum will just suck this right down. That should be about 3 ounces. Zero my scale. I'm going to add 28 ounces. Looks like it'll only take 9 ounces, so I gotta close this valve and I gotta turn the AC on high. Get that compressor to turn on. AC fan's working. 1 pound, 12 ounces I got in there. So the weather right now is 74 degrees and 30% humidity. I got 35 on the cold side and just a little over 250 on the high side. So I'm going to call this a job. Okay, bye.